Hello, and welcome to our webinar on Epic Isolated Recovery Environments on AWS. Cyber threats in healthcare are escalating, and protecting patient information and ensuring continuity of care is more critical than ever. Today, we'll talk about how IREs can enhance your organization's cybersecurity posture. So I'm Adriana Pradell. I focus on serving our Epic on AWS community, working closely with Epic and our partners to deliver the very best results. And prior to AWS, I worked at a very large nonprofit organization where I focused on Epic, integration, and interoperability. Today, I want to welcome our two guest speakers. David Gates is the CISO at LCMC Health, one of our Epic on AWS customers. David has almost 20 years of experience and specializes in protecting healthcare data. And representing our partner, Sapphire Health, is Tyler Jordan, the Director of Cloud Solutions at Sapphire Health, with 13 years of experience focusing on running Epic workloads on AWS. So in the next 30 minutes, we're going to cover ransomware trends that are targeting healthcare organizations, explore the best practices for deploying Epic IRE on AWS, and understand how this solution leverages AWS services. So our customer, LCMC, is New Orleans-based. They're a nonprofit healthcare system that's comprised of 8 hospitals, as well as a network of urgent care centers. LCMC partnered with Sapphire Health, a consulting partner who solely focuses on management and optimization of Epic environments. Their cloud journey started with the go live of Epic Cloud Read Only in 2022. Earlier this year, they successfully went live with disaster recovery on AWS. Now I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, David Gates, Chief Information Security Officer at LCMC, who will share the current state of ransomware in healthcare. David?
Thank you, Adriana. Before I dive into LCMC's specific journey with IRE, I want to step back and ground our discussion in what's driving these decisions across healthcare. Every journey has a catalyst, and for healthcare IT, that catalyst has been the unprecedented surge in ransomware attacks over the past few years. It's no secret that ransomware has become one of the most significant threats we face, but the numbers paint an even starker picture. As healthcare IT leaders, we're all tracking this concerning trend. Ransomware attacks on healthcare increased by 128% from 2022 to 2023. With victims rising from 113 to 258. While the billion-dollar mark in ransomware payments grabs headlines, what's truly alarming is how these attacks are evolving. They're no longer just about stealing data. They're now targeting the very backbone of our operations, backup and recovery systems. And that's where the evolution of these attacks becomes especially concerning. They're going after the systems we rely on most for recovery. The statistics here are particularly relevant to our operations. 94% of ransomware attacks specifically targeted backup repositories, with 75% success rate in compromising at least some of that data. For those of us managing healthcare IT infrastructure, these numbers represent a clear shift in threat actors' strategies. They've recognized that compromising backups effectively removes our safety net and increases the likelihood of ransom payments. These numbers make it clear that backup strategies alone aren't enough. At LCMC, we realize that to truly protect our systems and, more importantly, patient care, we needed to rethink recovery altogether. That's why we implemented an isolated recovery environment, or IRE. These numbers are alarming. Ransomware attackers aren't just after our data. They're targeting what we think of as our last line of defense, backups. So let me ask you this. When was the last time your organization tested its ability to recover from a ransomware attack? No, I mean really recover, not just gather around a conference table and hypothesize how it could work with a cup of joe in hand. Because when ransomware hits for real, hypotheticals won't cut it, and coffee definitely won't save you. This is why we implemented an isolated recovery environment, or IRE, at LCMC. While the IRE gave us the confidence to recover quickly and effectively, it also came with a secondary benefit, significantly improving our NIST cybersecurity framework recover scores. Let me explain how. And also, let's be honest, improving a NIST score is like hitting a cybersecurity jackpot, but it wasn't luck in this instance. It was the result of disciplined execution and a strong foundation. Like most health systems, we engaged a third-party firm annually for a security risk assessment. While many assessments are done against HIPAA standards, ours aligns with the NIST framework. NIST defines 5 core functions: identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. For those less familiar, the recover function focuses on how quickly and effectively an organization can restore operations after an incident. In healthcare, this is particularly important. Downtime isn't just inconvenient, it impacts patient care. That's why the recover function became central to our strategy. By implementing the IRE, we enhanced our ability to recover in practice, not just on paper, and saw measurable improvements in resilience. But what do those improvements really mean for our day-to-day operations and for healthcare as a whole? The recover function isn't just about improving metrics. It directly addresses what keeps many of us awake at night: our ability to maintain operational resilience and restore critical services after a cybersecurity incident. In healthcare, where system availability directly impacts patient care, this includes more than just having backups or disaster recovery plans in place. It's about being able to rapidly restore services after incidents like ransomware attacks. By focusing on the recover function, we've ensured that when disruption happens, and we know they will, we can quickly and effectively restore operations without compromising patient care or trust. This is what makes recovery such a critical part of our overall strategy. This focus on the recover function isn't just theoretical. It's central to how we've strengthened our ability to restore services in the face of real-time threats. At LCMC, we've seen firsthand how prioritizing recovery leads to measurable results. Let me share our journey. In early 2023, our NIST CSF recover capability score was at 70%. Following our implementation of cloud read-only capabilities and expanded AWS recovery solutions, our 2024 assessment under NIST 2.0 showed marked improvements to 94%. This 24% improvement represents real, measurable enhancements in our ability to recover from cyber incidents, particularly ransomware attacks. But this improvement wasn't just about boosting our NIST score. It has real-world implications. Enhancing our recovery capabilities had a ripple effect across our entire organization, impacting everything from operational resilience to financial planning. The impact extends beyond security metrics. While specific numbers are confidential, the insurance market response is significant. Healthcare systems of our size typically see cyber insurance premium reductions of 15 to 30% when implementing robust recovery solutions like IRE. This translates to substantial annual savings while strengthening both our security posture and patient care capabilities. These financial and operational benefits are only possible because of the technical advancements that underpin our recovery strategy. At the heart of this success is the combination of technologies and practices that make our IRE so effective. What's significant about our IRE implementation is the combination of immutable backups, isolated environments, and rapid recovery capabilities. This hasn't just improved our technical resilience, it's transformed our entire security posture. What's particularly exciting is that this represents a fundamental advancement beyond our previous cloud read-only capabilities. But don't just take my word for it. This transformation represents a definitive shift in how we approach recovery and resilience. Our CIO at LCMC, David Singer, has been at the forefront of this journey and explains why this matters so much to healthcare. As David emphasizes here, this isn't just about having another backup. It's about taking a definitive stand against the ransomware crisis in healthcare. When he says, Epic IRE environment is the key to guaranteeing recovery, he's speaking from our experience of transforming our security posture from reactive to proactive. We're not just protecting our systems, we're protecting our ability to deliver patient care without ever having to consider paying a ransom. So far, we've focused on why an IRE is so critical and the impact it's had on our security posture and patient care capabilities at LCMC. But now, let's dive into how it all works. Tyler will walk you through the technical underpinnings and implementation details of our IRE, providing a closer look at what makes it so effective. Tyler, over to you.
Thanks, David, for the introduction. So I'd like to start by talking about the original Cloud Read-Only, also known as CRO, that was implemented at LCMC. And this is the design that the IRE is based on top of. So CRO is designed to be as segmented as possible from your on-premises environments. Servers that are in AWS are not domain joined to your normal domain. They're instead joined to a smaller CRO-only domain that is really just for management. On top of that, while there is a VPN between AWS and your on-premises environment, the only connection over this VPN is the production mirror to the CRO database. Access to this environment is either via a regular web browser over the internet or by using the Haiku Canto mobile applications. However, the public internet route to this environment isn't normally accessible and has to actually be enabled during the activation process. Talking about that activation process, it's quick. The only steps you need to take is sever the production mirror, bring the CRO database up, and then enable that internet access that I previously mentioned. This process takes on average 5 minutes or less, and can even be automated so you can do all of those steps with a single click. Now, the CRO environment does have some downsides. The data is a fixed point in time from the time that mirror is severed. So what that means is in the event of a longer downtime, the data is becoming less and less useful as it stales. If you're talking 2 or 3 days, that CRO environment is losing efficiency every single day. So that's where we enter the IRE, the isolated recovery environment, which is expanding on Cloud Read-Only by allowing clinicians limited read-write access using a new tool called Epic Harbor. So the goal of IRE is not to replace our existing downtime mitigation processes, but to supplement them. You'll still have your normal DR environment, and you'll still have your BCA and your BCA web devices. IRE for LCMC is only activated as a last resort when all of those other systems are unavailable or compromised in some way. We really wanted to make sure that this environment couldn't be affected during a malicious attack, and that we could also recover from that IRE environment without any risk of reinfection going the other direction. Based on these criteria, we've developed a runbook for when IRE will be activated, the activation process itself, and the recovery process, taking advantage of automation wherever we can. So to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the infrastructure, within AWS, we have several sets of servers that hopefully look familiar. So of course, you have the recovery operational database itself. We have a set of Hyperspace web servers, which are used for the access via Hyperdrive or via a web browser using Chrome and Edge. You have interconnect servers, which serve the Haiku Canto application method, those mobile devices. Then we have a set of management servers. So you have System Pulse for monitoring and alerting, Kuiper for deployment, that limited Active Directory that's just for management purposes, and then the SQL server that hosts the Kuiper and the System Pulse databases. Within AWS, we're using an AWS native firewall to actually inspect the traffic that comes from the public internet, as well as an AWS native load balancer to distribute requests to the backend interconnect and hyperspace web servers. It is possible to use a third-party device, but we found that the AWS native load balancer was sufficient for this purpose. So this slide here, pretty simple. It's kind of illustrating how limited the connection is between your data center and your operational database within AWS. The only traffic over this connection is the production replication. You'll restrict traffic to just that prod and recovery ODB servers, specifically around the ports that are required for mirroring, ESMP, and the IRIS licensing. So this slide is a little bit more in depth and is illustrating the normal state of the environment where the production environment is up and mirroring to the IRE environment. On the left side here, there is the network isolated DR instance that is there to provide a real-time copy of production. On the right side, there is an inactive on-demand read-only, or ODRO environment. This instance doesn't have any data sets and is only a base installation of IRIS. So the first stage of activation is to enable the read-only access, which is similar to the cloud read-only. This is done by running SRO scripts to mount a snapshot from your DR datasets onto that ODRO instance. This allows for users to quickly access the patient data while the fog of war from that ransomware attack could still be dense. You might remember that in the initial hours of the CrowdStrike outage, many organizations thought they had been hit by ransomware. If you had activated the full read-write for an IRE during that outage, it could have actually extended the overall disruption because then you need a second outage to cut back over from IRE to PRD. So the cloud read-only, the ODRO in this stage, is a quick activation solution that is extremely safe to do while you're trying to figure out the impact and still providing users with the benefits of viewing that critical patient data that isn't stale yet. However, as we've discussed, the goal of the IRE environment is to provide read-write access. So when the fog of war is cleared a little bit and you've determined that, yes, we might be down for a little bit longer than we expect, we want to activate the IRE read-write portion, you bring down the ODRO instance and bring the network isolated DR environment up to run level UA. Users then have limited read-write access to clinical data in the network isolated DR environment. Similar to the CRO, in the IRE, the user has limited access during the read-write method. Users can access the system either via a browser-provided URL to do Chrome and Edge. They can access it via hyperdrive if that connection is available. And alternatively, they can use the HiQ Canto mobile devices on their phone or iPads. So to summarize, the adoption of the Epic Isolated Recovery Environment at LCMC is providing the last line of defense in the event of an outage or security incident that affects both production and DR. This environment acts as a guarantee, a life preserver in this situation. We used AWS for this to ensure that we have as much logical separation as possible. Of course, with AWS, we're also able to maximize uptime due to the geographical redundancy that AWS provides and the scalability provided. We're utilizing a pilot light approach to minimize the costs associated with AWS. So while the ODB needs to be up 24/7 for mirroring, we actually shut down the majority of the hyperspace web and the interconnect servers to save cost. These servers then get powered back on anytime you need to actually activate the environment, test the environment, or just for your regular updates. Beyond the insurance of having the IRE environment available in an emergency, LCMC was able to save a significant amount of money in cyber insurance premiums and has increased its infrastructure as code knowledge through the automation of the creation of all these servers and the maintenance of the Epic IRE. Thank you for your time. I'd like to hand the mic back over to Adriana to talk more about why we chose to build Epic IRE on AWS.
Thank you so much to David and Tyler for sharing your expertise on the cybersecurity landscape and IRE. Some of the key requirements around IRE is to keep the environment safe from possible spread of an attack and also available when organizations need it most. And this is where AWS can help. AWS Cloud Infrastructure is designed to help customers meet their compliance, security, and resilience needs. A region is a physical location in the world where we have a cluster of data centers, and each region consists of a minimum of 3 availability zones. Availability zones are discrete data centers, each with redundant power, networking, and connectivity. They're strategically located to reduce the chance of a simultaneous failure. We look at things like floodplains, fault lines, networks, and electrical grids. But having fault tolerance infrastructure is not enough. And that's why at AWS, security is our #1 priority. AWS is the most secure cloud computing environment available today. With security automation, teams can build using the best practices at scale. AWS has a wide variety of security services to help achieve end-to-end security for your organization. And we're here to help you navigate the changing threat and compliance landscapes. This is all backed by the trust of millions of customers, including the most security-sensitive organizations like government, healthcare, and financial services. So this is a high-level view of the many security features that AWS offers. IRE uses services like Amazon CloudWatch, where you can observe and monitor resources and applications on AWS, on-premises, and other clouds. Amazon Guard Duty continuously monitors for potential threats across your organization. It uses machine learning and threat intelligence from leading third parties to help protect your AWS accounts. Another key service is AWS Shield. It automatically detects and mitigates disruptive DDoS events. These services are built by our AWS security experts to give our customers the confidence to keep building and innovating on AWS. You might be wondering how you get started, and the Healthcare Landing Zone Accelerator is how. It's built to support highly regulated compliance frameworks like HIPAA. The LZA for healthcare builds the foundation so that you can accelerate your readiness for cloud operations. Using CloudFormation templates to help accelerate your setup in days, not weeks. This configuration is specifically built with healthcare in mind. So most recently, KLAS has published an Epic in the Cloud report. KLAS gathers data directly from customers that are running Epic in the public cloud. The overall report shows that customers are getting better results from AWS. Today, our Epic on AWS community consists of 24 customers. We're the only cloud running Epic workloads internationally, 2 in Canada and 1 for the state of New South Wales, Australia, which will be the biggest implementation of Epic in the world. Epic is a priority workload for AWS. We're focused on delivering instances that are specifically designed for Epic to support the very best price performance. So I really want to thank our 2 guests, David and Tyler, for sharing their expertise on IRE today. And don't hesitate to reach out to learn more.